Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about prebiotics. Prebiotics are non-living, non-digestible, special form of fiber or carbohydrates that were derived from the plants such as fruits, vegetables or whole grains. And the concept of prebiotics was introduced by Mr. Gibson and Robert Freud in the year 1995. And the prebiotics are going to be acting as an alternative for probiotics or their cofactors. And according to Gibson and Robert Freud, the prebiotics can be defined as non-digestible food ingredients that beneficially affect the host by selectively stimulating the growth or activity of one or limited number of bacteria in the colon that can improve host health. That means the food ingredients that beneficially affect the host. How it is going to affect the host? By stimulating the growth or activity of the beneficial bacteria in the colon, that is especially in the large intestine, and those bacteria which can improve the host cell by acting on these non-digestible food are going to be considered as or defined as prebiotics. As I told you, prebiotics are essentially fiber from plants, that may be fruits, vegetables or the whole grains. And these prebiotics are going to be undigested in the parts of stomach and the small intestine. Then where they are going to be digested? They are going to make their way to intact to the colon, where they will be bacterially fermented together with the unabsorbed nutrients. That means these prebiotics are going to be digested by the bacteria, that is a beneficial bacteria that are present in the colon, that is large intestine. Then coming to the examples of prebiotics, so fructooligosaccharides, which are going to present in the inulin and its derivatives, then other oligosaccharides such as raffinose, stachyose and verapicose, and then polysaccharides like cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin, and the soya beans, oligosaccharides, etc. So here you can see some established prebiotics like inulin, fructooligosaccharides, galacto-oligosaccharides, sauce, which are going to be prepared from the are extracted from the soya bean whey, and sauce, then enzyme hydrolysis of xylem, then isomalto-oligosaccharides from the transgalactosylation of maltose, and the pyrodextrins, that is pyrolysis of potato or maize starch. So that was found that breast milk oligosaccharides are going to be the third largest component of human milk, containing of about 20 to 23 grams of liter in colostrum and 12 to 14 grams per liter in the mature milk. So what it is? The oligosaccharide content that is present in this. And then here are some prebiotic foods that you can see: the garlic, onions, chicory root, then asparagus, then wheat, rye, barley and oats, then coming to the breast milk, then tomatoes, berries and even the bananas. So these are the few prebiotic foods. Then coming to the properties of prebiotics. So that means what a prebiotic should have, the characters. So it must neither hydrolyzed nor absorbed in the upper part of gastrointestinal tract. So upper part means stomach and the small intestine. So that we have already discussed that they are not going to be digested in those two parts. Then selective fermentation by potentially beneficial bacteria in the colon. So there must be beneficial bacteria how to ferment the prebiotics in the colon, that is the large intestine. Then alteration in the composition of the colonic microbiota towards a healthier composition. That means they should not allow the growth of the pathogenic microorganisms. So what they have to do? They have to give the composition which will enhance the growth of the beneficial microbiota. Then preferably induce effects which are beneficial to the host health and immunostimulation. So these are the few properties that the prebiotic should have. Then coming to the microorganisms which are getting stimulated due to the presence of these prebiotics are mainly lactobacilli and bifidobacterium are more likely to benefit from prebiotics. Let's see, the bifidobacterium is a major gut organism targeted in the prebiotics. So what are the benefits of this bifidobacterium with this prebiotics means? Like this bifidobacterium is going to lower the blood cholesterol level. They're going to act as immunoglobulins. They're going to produce some sort of vitamins. They restore the normal intestinal flora. They inhibit the growth of potential pathogens in the colon part, and they reduce the blood ammonia levels. So these are some of the beneficial aspects to humans because of the presence of bifidobacterium in the gut. Then here are some sources of prebiotics, like oligosaccharides are going to be derived from onion, garlic, chicory root, yacon, asparagus, geranium, artichoke, soya bean, wheat bran. In the same manner, fructo-oligosaccharides are the same. That means onion, garlic, these are all the things that were originating these fructo-oligosaccharides. Then fructans are going to be the ash-free white powder from the tubers of geranium and artichoke. Then human kappa casein and derived glycomarcopeptides are going to be from the human milk, that is especially the breast milk, like chymotrypsin and the pepsin hydroxylate. Then stachyose and raffinose, obviously from soya bean extract, casein from bovine milk, and then lactitol is going to be from synthetic sugar alcohol of lactose, and lactulose is a synthetic derivative of lactose. So here are some of the prebiotic factors and their origins. Then let's see, have a glance of some oligosaccharides. So as I told you, is the main constituent of prebiotic food products, and these are going to stimulate the growth of beneficial bacteria and increase the resistance to invading pathogens. That means they won't allow the pathogens to grow in their presence. The functional oligosaccharides includes fructooligosaccharides, glucooligosaccharides, inulin, isomaltooligosaccharides, soybean meal oligosaccharides, mannan oligosaccharides, galactooligosaccharides, maltooligosaccharides, xylo-oligosaccharides, pectin-derived acidic oligosaccharides. So these are the few functional oligosaccharides in which we are going to discuss these yellow colored oligosaccharides. So the first one, fructooligosaccharides. So this is the structure of a fructooligosaccharide. Is a group of oligosaccharide or a group of connected simple sugars. The sources of it are going to be onions and chicory root, also the garlic. It helps in the stimulation. That means these fructooligosaccharides are going to help in the stimulation of beneficial bacteria, and then they are going to minimal effect of blood sugar, and also helps in strengthening the immune system. So these are the main functions of this fructooligosaccharide. Then moving to the inulin. Inulin is a dietary fiber that is found in many common foods such as leeks, kiwi, asparagus, onions, garlic, banana, wheat, rhubarb, dairy products, etc. So this is a structure of a inulin compound. So there are several benefits of inulin apart from weight management. It even increases calcium absorption and improve bone health. It can also be used to replace sugar and fat as a food additive to improve the taste. Then moving to the next one, soybean meal oligosaccharide. So this is a structure of the soybean oligosaccharide. They are found in obviously soya milk, soya oil, bean, curd or ice cream. And this soybean meal oligosaccharide is going to promote the growth of bifidobacterium in the intestinal tract and also lowering the cholesterol. Then moving to the next one is xylo-oligosaccharides, and this is the structure of xylo-oligosaccharide, and they are naturally present in fruits, vegetables, bamboo, milk and the honey, and each will help to improve the blood sugar levels and fat absorption. Not only that, they are going to re-establish normal colonic flora. It also increases the mineral absorption and vitamin B creation. Then moving to galacto-oligosaccharides. The galacto-oligosaccharides, otherwise called as ZOS, are found naturally in the breast milk, but are added to foods such as infant formula, fruit drinks, dairy products, that is of breast milk, then breakfast cereals and biscuit crackers. These galacto-oligosaccharides are going to increase the good bacteria and boost the immune system. Not only that, they promote the intestinal health by keeping the unfriendly bacteria such as E. coli, vaginal urinary infections at bay. So this is going to be the structure of galacto-oligosaccharides. So these are the few oligosaccharide structures and their functions in detail. Then coming to the uses of prebiotics, these prebiotics are going to be useful in enhancing bone density and increases calcium absorption. Then they improve the immune function in both the gut as well as and body. They are going to establish a healthier balance of bacteria in the gut. Then they're going to promote the regular bowel movements such as uh, to reduce the risk of inflammatory and bowel diseases. They suppress the appetite and they are going to reduce the risk of intestinal infections, increase in mineral absorption as the calcium, not only the calcium, others, and improvement of the bone health, and the modulation of gastrointestinal peptides production and the energy metabolism, simply called as immunomodulator effect. Then they are going to have the initiation after birth and regulation or modulation of immune functions and anti-hypertensive effects and antibiotic effect. So these are the few uses of prebiotics. Then moving to the examples of some prebiotic supplements. So here you can see the figures of different prebiotic supplements. So soup, snacks, marigold biscuits, and the whole wheat bread, all these things. Then coming to the health benefits. So what are the major health benefits of these prebiotics? Means we are having 6 functions majorly. The first one is the immune system strength, having the positive effects on the immune system. Example, less risk for allergy in both infants and adults, especially in combination with probiotics. Prebiotic fiber is going to promote the growth and colonization of the beneficial bacteria in the gut, and these beneficial bacteria is going to, along with the immune system, is going to fight against the illness causing bacteria and the viruses. So that's how it is going to strengthen our immune system. Then moving to the second function, that is normal bowel function. Irritable bowel syndrome, which is characterized by bloating, gas, stomach pain, cramping, constipation, and diarrhea, is caused by food being digested improperly. Okay, so prebiotic fiber causes foods to be digested normally over a normal period of time, not too quickly or not too slowly. So that's how it is going to improve the laxation or regularity by increasing the stool bulk. So that means you're having the smooth motion free one. So that's how it is going to remove the constipation. And not only that, it is going to provide the energy yielding metabolites through colonic fermentation. So this is how it is going to involve in maintaining the normal bowel function. Then moving to the third function, cancer prevention. Bifidobacterium that is present in the large intestine, which is going to act on our prebiotics, is going to digest the inulin in the gut flora and produces short chain fatty acids, acetic acid, propionic acid, and butyric acid within the intestine, and it is believed that these acids can prevent certain forms of cancer. So that's how it is indirectly involved in the cancer prevention, especially the colon cancer. So coming to the colon cancer, some experts believe that prebiotics are sweeping up carcinogens and other dangerous toxins before they can be absorbed into the bloodstream, where they can do damage. So that's involved in preventing the colon cancer also. Then coming to anti-diabetic effect, it reduces the blood glucose level, and then anti-hypertensive effects or hypocholesteremia effect. So that means reducing the energy intake, which results in weight management, especially in combination with probiotics. So these are the 6 main health benefits of prebiotics. Then moving to the role of prebiotics. So here just I have given the total tabular form of these prebiotics. You can go. So what are the different prebiotics? So what are the origins of them, and which type of microorganisms are going to be stimulated because of the concerned prebiotic, and what are the effects? For example, see here oligosaccharides. So these are all the things that were sources of this oligosaccharide, and the microbes that are going to be stimulated are bifidobacterium species. And what is the effect of this means? Increase in bifidobacterium, suppression of putrefaciente bacteria, prevention of constipation and diarrhea. In the same manner, if we check the human kappa casein and derived, so here you are going to have the bifidobacterium. Bifidum is a microbe that is getting stimulated, and the effect is growth promotion. So this is how each oligosaccharide, that is a prebiotic, is going to have its own origin and the microbes that are getting stimulated and the effect of it. Okay, so you can have a glance of it. Then coming to the side effects, so we are also having a little bit of side effects. So excessive consumption of prebiotics, particularly those in the oligosaccharides category, may cause abdominal discomfort and distension, as well as significant levels of flatulence. So the Nutrition Information Center of South Africa's University of Stellenbosch recommends that daily consumption of prebiotics be held below 20 grams. So if you are going to consume more than that, you may have some sort of a side effects, but we can neglect it because of having the more benefits rather than the side effects. So here are some top 20 prebiotic foods for our healthy gut. So you can see. So that's all about the prebiotics. So here in the prebiotics topic, we had gone with the introduction, that means about the Gibson and Robert Freud, who defined it, and then what are the different foods of prebiotics, and then what are the properties of prebiotics, then what are the different sources of prebiotics, then what are the uses, health benefits, and the role of prebiotics. All these things we have discussed in detail. Thank you.